There we go, that looks better. My opponent is kaseyp. Bit lower rated than me, but okay, I lost the last round, so you gotta live with it. Let's roll. They are a dragon player, and namely not the normal dragon, but the Dragadorf, which isn't a great opening, especially not when the opponent could prepare for it. Queen d2, knight b7, g4, something. I'm not keeping up with putting the moves on my real board. b5, h4. And b4, which isn't great either. The nominal mainline is to play h5 here. Yeah, what else can I say? h5 is relatively required. Here I go knight a4. Yeah, in some other line you went knight e2, but this was knight a4. Knight e2 is a possibility if black goes bishop b7, then h5, and only then b4. But yeah, direct b4 is direct knight a5. Knight a4, sorry. And now white just pushes like h5, h6, g5, long castle, king b1. Whatever. Can also take on g6 if you feel like it. Nothing also critical. Knight a4 certainly exists. You just go b3. Queen a5, whatever am I saying? You just go b3. I'm still in book. I hope I set the position on the board up correctly, but that seems to be the case. By the way, I'm not sure whether I have any viewers right now, but up till now I had said just please don't post anything in the chat. Now it's like whatever. Last times that I did stream, nobody said anything in the chat period, so I assume the danger of getting accidental cheating is low enough that I went with don't suggest moves. You can say hi, you can ask me for the name of the track that is playing, but please no comments on the game. Hello Chess Student 101. As said, feel free to say stuff in the chat. Welcome to the stream. Just no comments on the game. Okay, Casey is thinking, so I assume that means they are out of book, which is a decent sign. Not that I would care too much, because I believe this position is just good for white. So whatever. If they were still in book, I would also be fine playing against bad prep. Really not a fan of this opening for black. It's sort of a trick line where you assume probably white doesn't know what they're doing, because black doesn't play this very often. But if you go for this in one of these online leagues, you run the risk of your opponent prepping if you play this in every single game ever. Knight e5 was the book move, so I can continue just making moves at pace. And now the book's at GH. I mentioned like G5 is also possible, but I shall just follow the book main line. And then they did some silly tactics in the book where they took on f3 and I took back. And they take here and I go up. And they take this rook. And you take the knight. And black gets 2 pawns and the rook for his 2 pieces. But it's a middle game with almost all the pieces still on the board. Black king in the center, so the 2 minors should be superior in that position. If they don't play GH, I'm out of book. But as said, it's not that complicated to play any of this. You can go either h6, g5, or maybe take on g6 and take here. There's always some ideas of takes, queen h2, when you take this, and the rook on a8, the bishop on a8 at the same time. But obviously not in this position, since currently the knight is defended twice. Still, it's sort of a motif. Else, yeah, there's not much to say. I'm still in book, black isn't. Black is thinking and I'm not. The beauty of opening 3.com, allowing me to just prepare random games. Chess student, if you're still here, can you tell me how the music volume is? Like, I'm using this Pretzel Rocks music player for the first time. I'm not sure whether the volume is fine, or I'm too quiet, or too loud, or something else. I don't know if you can make out the music at all. If not, I would turn it up a bit. Knight f3 directly, without gh first. Well, there's not much to think about. I just take this back, since else I'm down a queen. I would be more concerned about this if this wasn't my prep. Is there a downside for black now that they didn't insert gh? That is something I shall consider for a bit, and I will assumably be a bit more quiet, because again I kept forgetting to actually update the position on the real board. And let me go into the tank for a second. Queen d3 still looks like the most natural move. Bishop a1 will happen, queen takes e4 will happen, rook b8 will be forced since the rook on a8 is attacked. And then the question is, who gets the advantage out of not inserting GH. Does it allow me some sort of trick anywhere? Sosferato not says, I think the music is fine. Alright, thank you. Is this just a move transposition? Or do we have a trick which we wouldn't have otherwise? I don't know why we would have a trick. The main difference is that I might have HG at the end. HG, rook H8, and black can't castle anymore. Or HG, FG, and I don't know, black loses. And I'm not sure how big of a deal it is, since I assume he wouldn't be that much into castling anyway in the other line. Maybe I can go like C3, trap the bishop on A1 so I can take HG without allowing black to recapture with the H-pawn, but it feels rather dodgy. There might also just be some C3 bishop B7 stuff, which would be annoying. So right now I assume this is essentially just a move transposition, more or less. Do I assume that? HG, I assume is forced rook H8, bishop H8. Maybe that's just a better version of standard line, when I can follow up with like bishop G5. Or the threatened mate on E7. And black has issues with his pieces. Bishop D3 makes a lot less sense. That's what I would play in the other line. If HG first, and after Queen E4, Rook B8, I would go Bishop D3 and target the H7 pawn. But here that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I would either have to deal with Rook B8 in some fashion, with Bishop B7 in some fashion. Wait, am I trapping the queen? Am I not always trapping the queen then? Oh no, he can take on b6. So what I thought about, let me throw this in the arrows to make it a bit more sensible. I was thinking about queen d3, bishop takes a1, queen takes, attacking this rook. So then it's forced to go rook b8. And I wanted bishop b6. When the queen is attacked and can't go here because of the bishop, and can't go here because of the knight, and can't go here because of my queen, and can't go here because of the knight, can't go here, and can't go here. Can she not go here? Maybe she could even go there. Huh. Anyway, all pointless because after bishop b6, just rook b6. So yeah, I don't see a great big difference. I assume the same principle applies. We get the normal looking position. Normal looking position, not really. What did I want to say? We get the line that I know without a huge difference. Yeah, whatever. I spent a lot of time getting here. Shouldn't be a great difference. Don't really have anything to say, so I'm not saying anything and instead typing stuff on Discord. Is it because the G3 Englishes get too systematic? Okay, that's not book. So we assume it's terrible. How am I winning? What does black do if I just go to G1? Takes on F1, I guess. Can I sacrifice a whole rook? Wait, there's already a rook hanging on A1. I have both my rooks hanging at once. Is this time then queen trapped if I go bishop b6? Since there was no rook b8 played. That would be a really funny line if I went bishop b6 here and the best variation was knight takes h1, bishop a5, bishop takes a1. Somehow I'm losing both my rooks before move 20 and get the queen for it. Which I assume would favor me, but I'm not entirely sure. So bishop b6 is at least queen b5. The queen is definitely not trapped. because my own queen is in the way this time. Okay, what else? I kinda know this must be terrible, because it wasn't mentioned at all in the book. Which is helpful. I just need to figure out why it's terrible. Castling long might be legal, but doesn't really feel like a refutation to anything. Since I have two rooks hanging anyway, maybe I can play HG. If black takes either of my rooks, I continue with GF7. Completely breaking apart his kingside. And if black takes neither of my rooks, but just recaptures HG, then I have rook H8, bishop H8, long castles. Not losing any material, just being a piece up. Or I'll have HG, FG, whatever, then I can think again. That improved my position definitely, and everything else is a worry for later. So that looks like an option. Bishop b6 is definitely something to keep in mind. Winning a queen would be useful. Well, yeah, the problem persists that as long as the knight is on g3 and my queen is on d3, that is not happening. What else is there to think about? Long castles here already I didn't like. Rook g1 or something. Then if knight f1 I could long castle then. But then I'm just losing my extra piece back after knight e3. And then just 2 pawns down. Like I might have some attack and whatever, but it still doesn't really feel right. g4 is also hanging to bishop g4 in all the variations. Why am I winning here? HG feels the most logical, so to speak. I could also perhaps go bishop d4, just blocking his bishop and attacking it, and if bishop takes d4 is played, I have queen d4 attacking the next rook, so then I would be able to save my rook on h1 afterwards. Well, after bishop d4, knight h1, I have bishop g7 obviously. Stuff like bishop d4, bishop takes g4 feels a bit much for black. Might not be impossible, but feels a bit much. So I'm currently tending towards bishop d4, just interrupting one of the hanging rooks with tempo. And it's not quite clear what black would do in reply. Does he have any great moves? Bishop d4. d4, knight takes f1, doesn't bother me, I just take on g7. Bishop d4, bishop takes g4, I take on g7 again, rook g8 or something maybe, and maybe even hd there. That's too many hanging pieces for me. What's going on here? Bishop d4, bishop takes g4, bishop takes g7. At the moment I'm 2 pieces up and attacking a rook. But also have a hanging rook and not a hanging piece. Okay, so that doesn't work at all for black. Since bishop d4 defends the knight on f3, by uncovering the queen on d3, best case scenario, black gets the rook on h1 and can't castle anymore and lost his dark square bishop. So that's not gonna happen. Bishop d4, knight takes h1, bishop g7, rook g8. I can probably even decide to go h6 or something. Just cement the bishop in the black camp. Not that I need to. Can also just go bishop d4 back or something. And then I always have the 2 pieces, and this time it's like better 2 pieces, I assume. So the only other thing I was like bishop d4, bishop takes d4, queen d4, e5. When my queen isn't attacking the rook on h8 anymore, and I had assumed I could go like queen e4, queen d5, target the rook on a8, but that's not legal. So I would need to reply to e5, that's satisfactory. And of course queen d6, but I'm not sure whether that counts as satisfactory. It looks sort of threatening, but it doesn't look like direct mate. There would be quite a bit of material down after e5, queen e6, knight h1. So bishop d4, queen d4, e5. Do I have some great threat? Queen b6, knight b6, rook b8, knight retreats, knight takes h1 does not really work. Hello Fims, Squirrel. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the good luck. Hello also Uncle Vinny. Thank you for the good luck. Where was I? Hey, I'm somehow 10 minutes down on the clock. But if e5 doesn't work, I just win, so I guess it's worth it. Bishop d4, queen d4, e5. What do I do? Do I just trust that queen d6 wins there? As black does nothing develop and knight h1 I castle long. I'm threatening too much stuff like knight b6 next, with queen d8 mate. Can't really develop anything. Sounds kinda sensible. Does sound kinda sensible. I would like something more concrete than sound sensible. But I assume some knight b6 should be good there. So, whatever. What did I want to play? Bishop d4. And I assumed best for black was to take, and I take back with the queen. And he goes e5, and then whatever happens, happens. So to go through that line with arrows, since I just made my move, all of this knight h1 stuff I don't believe works, because I take here, and then I'm 2 pieces up as as black just sacrificed the piece. So after knight h1, bishop g7, I have a, like, material edge, and the rook is hanging, and the knight might get trapped on h1, and the king is really bad forever. So that thing should just win. Well, 2 pieces for the rook, and the dark squared bishop dominating on the entire board. Could dominate on g7, could go back and, I don't know, threaten bishop b6 in the future. So I assumed he should, Casey? Sounds... Stream keeps lagging. Oh, fuck my life. It should be working anyway. Okay, yeah, the drop frames keep going up. I have no idea what's going on with that. Usually I have some encoding issues. There don't seem to be any encoding issues right now. But just my connection is a bitch. I apologize. There are reasons why I didn't stream for a long time. One of them is that my connection is complete ass. The other reason is that my computer is complete ass. And I guess I'm also ass, so that doesn't help. But okay, we'll make do with what we have and hope it solves itself after a while. I apologize for the hassles. Hope the stream becomes watchable again shortly. Where was I? I assume bishop d4, queen d4. I'm attacking this rook, so they would have to castle. Then I can just go rook g1, attack the knight, which might actually just drop off, since it doesn't have a retreat square. Oh no, it's never dropping up because it's gonna take on f1. But still, then I'm just a piece up, since black sacrificed one. And if that doesn't happen, I'm gonna go e5 to like interrupt the attack on the rook with tempo. Originally I had assumed I could go on one of these squares and attack the next rook with tempo, but both of these squares are covered, so that's not happening. But I cooked up now instead, and I just take on d6, knight h1, and I castle long, and then I have like 2 heavy pieces bearing down the open d-file. This black king can't castle because my queen on d6 is gonna cover all of these squares. Black has no real development to speak of because this bishop would be gone, this knight would be on h1, these are still in the base, and the queen doesn't really have a square to go to either. So then you can just develop with a bishop c4 or something, threaten mate, go knight b6, attack these two while blocking the queen from retreating, etc, etc. So that looked quite good to me. I'm not 100% sure whether it's like correct, but it felt like the only way that made any sense. And I know that the position after knight g3 must be winning. So like if I didn't know knight g3 is wrong, I would be more concerned that queen d6 isn't enough. But it's basically this bishop d4, queen takes back, queen d6 is basically the only thing I could come up with at all, which threatens something properly. And since I know something has to be winning, I assume it's this. And just go from there. We soldier on, chins up, says Uncle Vinny. Alright, my chin is up. It's definitely a very funny position with both of my rooks hanging by move 15. Not something you see every day. But I do believe I should already be in the driver's seat. What else can I say? There's like no positional considerations to be had here. Black just sacrificed the piece and I'm gonna be winning if that doesn't work, which I assume it doesn't. So yeah, I don't know. Black's king is bad because I have my h-pawn all the way here and my rook is gonna be open if black doesn't take it. Something. I can't say anything about this position, either it works or it doesn't. There are no generalities here. You just sort of win. Or hope you win. If one of my viewers has a question not about this game and not about the Dragadorf, but about some random other topic, perhaps on chess, they can ask, then I can maybe say something other than, yeah, my position is good and I hope I'm winning. Maybe I can go back through the game, because not everyone was here at the start. KCP always plays the Dragadorf, which is named this way because it is a mix out of the dragon and 6a6, 5a6, and 5a6, the Najdorf. So their names get mixed together to Dragadorf, which sounds really cool, but the opening is kinda crap, because the Najdorf is a super concrete opening where you can't afford to waste a single tempo as black or you get shredded, and g6, bishop g7 counts as wasting some tempi, while the dragon is a super concrete opening where black can't waste a single tempo or he gets shredded, and a6 counts as a waste of a tempo. For some reason GMs play this, so I assume it's not actually that terrible, but my view on it always has been that black just kinda loses, because white does the standard I throw my king side up the board stuff, which you do against both the Najdorf and the dragon, and like you're 2 tempi faster compared to the Najdorf, 1 tempo faster compared to the dragon, It's... I don't know, I find it practically unplayable for black. But Kasey likes it and plays it every game, which makes it even worse, because then I expect it and sit down for an hour before the game with my smart book and learn how to beat it. So there were some move order subtleties here, whatever you can, just long castle, the usual stuff, but it's more accurate to start with g4, h4, because there are very few lines where you actually end up castling short, so it's nice to keep in reserve. For example, if black plays a very early b5, like here, instead of knight bd7, then you can, as white, already go a4 and sort of mess up the black plan entirely. And yeah, here my king's location is still not determined. If I so desire, I can still castle short. Oh, a move happened. And after h4, the only decent move for black is h5, g5, knight a7. And obviously that also looks kinda questionable as white continues pushing with f4 long castles, f5, etc. Black is sitting on a knight on a7 and whatever. So I'm not a fan of this at all. And b4 is quite a bit worse. It's better than bishop b7, but still worse than h5. Because I just do this, and after h5 black has huge issues everywhere. And as I said, the main line in my book was takes, and then sacrifice the piece, and it's not really correct. Instead, they took the piece directly, which, okay, might be of similar value. But here, I believe it was forced. Oh, I could have recaptured a lot faster. Why wasn't this a pre-move? And e5 happened. Yeah, I wanted to take here, and I just believed that this works out. Do I just believe this? I just believe this. Let's continue talking. I trust in the heart of the cards. Where was I? I already spent way too much time, so I was too lazy to recalculate this. Where was I? Here black should have taken on a1, then I take here, take their rook. They go rook b8, I go bishop d3 or something, and we play a game. Maybe I take here, and we play a different game, but the gist stays the same. And instead I believe this knight g3 should just be losing. Now I have to figure out whether that's actually true, or whether I just played myself. As rook d8 is a bit of a threat and knight b6 doesn't really work, I might be able to just go knight c5, which threatens queen e5 check. I might be able to just castle long. And basically, you know what's going on? I might be able to take with a knight on e5. Knight e5 sort of threatens queen d7 mate. But still rook d8, I assume. Maybe I should have worried a bit more about bishop b7. I'm still reasonably confident that I'm winning, because I still feel like I must have been winning and this was like the only active path. But I could maybe have spent some time thinking during my opponent's clock on what to do about bishop b7. I like talking too much. Okay, long castles, rook d8, my queen is sort of awkward, queen f6 or something might work. And then maybe black gets time to castle short. and get out of the issues. Knight c5 threatens queen takes e5 with check and collecting the rook on h8, while also threatening queen d7 check when collecting the bishop on b7, and also attacks the bishop on b7 in the first place. Oh, that seems like a good option. So like knight c5, bishop takes f3 feels sort of forced. Queen takes e5, king d8 or f8, whatever. I take on h8 with check, the king walks out. I can't take on a8 because there's still the light squared bishop, sadly. So I need a better idea there. Maybe I can like castle long somewhere with check. That would be sort of neat. Maybe I can just win the queen. So knight c5, bishop f3, queen e5 check. And wherever whatever their king goes, I move my knight, have a check, and take on a5, which wins the queen. And they take on h1. What's the material balance? I have a knight, a bishop, a rook, and a queen against two pieces and two rooks. So the queen is the same worth as two rooks. The two pieces, oh well, the same as the two pieces, and I have an extra rook, I believe. Is there... Oh, my time is running out. Is there a great alternative? Knight c5? I don't see one. Rook d8, queen takes e5 check. That just wins too much material too quickly. So I believe I'm just winning a rook for basically nothing. Knight c5, bishop s3, queen e5, king d8, knight e6 check, f takes e6, queen takes a5 check. Oh, that's even with check. Okay, this just has to be completely winning. That just has to be winning. So bishop f3 isn't legal, and everything else I believe is also not legal because I'm attacking p7 and if e5 two times, and I can castle long and whatever else. Knight c5, queen d8. Then if queen takes e5, they would have queen e7, and I can't actually take on h8. I can still take on e7. And go like bishop b7. takes h1, bishop takes h1. Their bishop to c6 or something. I castle long. What's the material balance there? I collect the knight for the rook. We have 3 pieces and a rook against 2 rooks and a piece. That's not enough. That's not completely winning. Do I have a better answer to queen d8? What is my clock doing? Knight c5, queen d8. Where is the complete direct whatever win? Maybe after queen d8 I just take on d8 directly, and then take on b7, either with check or with tempo. And that's like better? Sounds better. Yeah, sounds good. I sort of have to make moves a bit faster, perhaps. Would not want to die. So I believe queen d8 is basically the only legal move. And then I had planned to queen d8, rook d8, knight b7, rook d7, whatever. Rook g1, rook, knight takes f1, rook takes f1. Rook b7, knight e5, followed by long castles, something, and I'm just up a piece, just up a piece, with 5 against 5 pawns, and no real trouble anywhere. Actually, knight e5, rook e7. I guess I'm losing the knight there, so that's a bit of a trouble. So I can't actually do that. Would have to castle long or something instead. That's a bit annoying. Originally I thought I have some HG. Well, HG, and he can't take HG because of rook h1 takes h8, but my rook is on f1 already, so whatever. Uncle Vinny said, I think I have a problem subliminally choosing a move and then spending all my calculation time defending it. I don't know, I don't think that's a problem. Like, you should be doing a quick scan whether you have an obvious simple answer. And then when you start your calculation on a more difficult move, and notice it's getting more and more difficult, then you should consider scrapping the calculation and moving on to the simpler alternative. But if the position is like the way it is right now, then I believe like every move will be complicated. So you might as well just calculate the one that is initially the most appealing to you. I probably calculated it too long, because queen d8 should be the only legal move, and queen d8 should be refutable relatively easily, so where was I? So since refuting this is sort of easier, I should probably just have played knight c5 way earlier, but I got sort of lost in calculating variations for the fun of it, more than anything. Also, I'm a bad calculator, so I calculate everything 5 times. But yeah, in a position like this, I don't think it's important to choose alternative moves earlier. Because if knight c5 works, you just win. And if it doesn't work, you would still like to have calculated it so you don't miss the just win. So yeah, I'm in a position where basically every move is complicated. It's perfectly fine to pick one which appeals to you the most and spend time calculating it. When you notice, ah shit, it's not working, then you should perhaps cancel the calculation in the middle somewhere and try to figure out whether there is an alternative move which might be simpler. Or if you, for example, find a defensive resource, then you can consider, do I have a move which takes out this defensive resource while still being a good move? But like here I didn't really find anything that refuted my idea. I just calculated and calculated. Hello and welcome to the stream, Hephaestus. Hephaestus is my old coach, if you can call it that. Probably you can call it that. He brought me to where I am. I'm very grateful for him. Am I an active streamer now? For now. I'm not sure whether I will do this forever, but for now I'm having fun with it, so why not? I got the microphone for 30 euros, which wasn't exactly a huge investment. And everything since was like I started commentating on the Grand Prix, and since I was already doing that, I figured I can also commentate these slow games that I'm playing. I'm not sure how great of a content this is, since like the 40 minutes, full hour. I've been playing for an hour, and basically all I said in this hour so far has been, I'm in book, my opponent isn't. And then at some point, okay, I should be winning now, and then I rattled down some lines. But okay, if someone wants to watch this, the offer is there. If someone has questions for me, I can answer those, which might be more useful than whatever I'm rambling during the game, because there are little viable ramblings here, other than, okay, I'm threatening a bunch of stuff now, and I think queen d8 is the only thing that does anything. Idle did not know that I learned from Hef. Yes. I don't know if you read the full storyline of how I became to be the owner of the chess lounge, which I posted yesterday. And basically there used to be an old server called the Chess Library, which was deleted at some point. And on that server, Hef was the OG active member. So I'm just winning a queen now, I think. And A queen is hopefully enough to win the game. Where was I? Yeah, Hef was the OG active member. I was rated like 1600, 1700 or something over the board at the point. And he was already as strong as he is now. Like 2100 or something online. 2000 FIDE or something. Well, not his actual FIDE, but like his strength. And we spent some hours together in voice chat analyzing games, him telling me how to work through a position, etc, etc, which was of great help to my chess. I was very starstruck back then that I could play against someone of his rating, or talk with someone of his rating. Take the queen. With check. Go rook g1 next move. And then up a queen. That's useful. I missed originally that this is even check. Like, if this wasn't check, I think I'm still winning. Because they can take on h1, but whatever, I'm still material up then. And all these pawns are gonna drop. And the king is terrible, I'm gonna play rook d1 at some point and whatever. But since it's with check, I'm a lot more material up than I originally intended. Actually, I can probably play rook h3 and collect something of these as well. So yeah, game is pretty much over. Queen d8 was forced, I believe. Well, yeah, Hef was a huge inspiration to me. And I am very much thankful for him that he made me strong. Well, whatever you want to call strong. Queens, they are super handy, yes. Having one while the opponent doesn't have one tends to be good stuff. White Fury says, no mention of his influence on my chess game. Welcome to the stream, White Fury. White Fury was probably in my last stream. And with that I mean when I streamed in 2016 or something, the last time. Very OG. Long time no see. Welcome to the stream. The king goes out, rook h3, I believe just collects more material at no cost. Queen e5 also looks kinda good. So if I go queen e5, oh, why worry? Rook h3 essentially forces knight takes f1, and I just take with the rook on f3. But knight has to go to h2 to not drop off instantly. And it's all whatever. I'm up a queen. Did I mention that already? I might have. And queen e5 can still come later when I'm attacking this and threatening checks and whatever. I'm not gonna get mated here. That's basically my only worry. It's not happening. So yeah. Let's just win. Brew, have you forgotten the SG days? No? That's what I was referring to. Like, the last time I streamed was in 2016, 2017, something. Well, if we ignore the last 2 weeks or something. But back then I streamed Skullgirls and Dust Force. And White Fury watched me play Skullgirls in 2016, 2017, whatever that was. I think in 2017 I had already quit again. I don't know. I recently started playing the game again. Was a mistake. It hasn't gotten better since 2017. Take the bishop. Life is good. Clonk. Good game. There wasn't much game here because Casey ran into my prep. Played not great opening in the first place and walked into prep and then just lost because the complications are a bit more difficult to navigate when you don't know how to navigate them. Hefes asked me what time control I mainly play on stream. This. Like, I only stream the long games. I'm not even playing Blitz, so it's hard to stream Blitz. Maybe I should start at some point, but I'm always so averse because when I already get depressed when I watch myself play. And I don't really want to subject other people to my Blitz. So I'm streaming the Lone Wolf and the 45-45 and the 90+30 series. Okay, nobody said anything in the spectator room. So I can do a computer analysis whether I did a great mistake. Full browser. Something. Electric Butter, welcome to the stream. It's a very hot stream. Yeah, indeed. Was definitely very hot. And Casatoni says E2F apostrophe, which I will agree with. Okay, E2F, yes. There aren't enough rapid classical chess streams. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I assume most people aren't very interested in watching low-level players, but here I am, just saying stuff because I feel like saying stuff. Art Vega is a good one. I am not aware of that one. Hef says he prefers people who explain their thought process. I don't really feel like I did that in this game because there wasn't any thought process, but yeah, else I agree. It's more fun to watch someone explain what they're thinking than if they're just like, I don't know, playing Ultra Bullet. Back to work for Uncle Vinny. Have fun at work. See you around. Thanks for stopping by. And Idol says he hates Dragadorf with a massive passion. I don't. I like it. Don't tell people not to play it. I want all my opponents to play the Dragadorf. So yeah, as I had said, I can run through this game again. This is all book. Except, of course, like the Dragadorf isn't a good opening. B4 is not book, or well, is some sort of book, but not good book either. The main line is H5 here. After B4, knight A4, queen A5, B3. Black is looking at the dilemma that like the queenside attack isn't going anywhere, while my kingside attack is rolling at full force. There might be some knight C6 coming in the future, there might be H5, H6 coming, there might be H5 takes here, takes there, checkmate, whatever coming. I can castle along whenever I like. Black isn't ever threatening anything at all. And I'm just rolling in peace. So Black felt obligated to go for these tactical complications. As said here, probably the book line is a bit better to take first twice here and now do this. That's what I had prepped. When I'm now attacking the rook, I'm gonna play bishop d3. And okay, Black won 2 central pawns and the rook, but they gave away 2 pieces for it, so materially it's roughly even. But we are in the middle game, where in general the 2 pieces are favored over the rook, and the 2 pawns don't really play much of a role. So I would say white has a rather solid advantage here. Still, this is playable for black if they like this kind of thing, wherever they would. But if they do, they can play like this. Instead, the knight f3 is probably not so great. And after this, knight g3 is very much not great at all. Still, bishop a1 had to be played. When we get a similar line, except probably a better version for me, because I have options like takes, when I'm a bit happier than in the main line. Or so I assume. Well, yeah, since that wasn't played, and instead knight g3 came with this funny motif of both my rooks hanging on move 15, which is not usually how chess goes. But yeah, I found this bishop d4, which interrupts one of the hanging rooks while targeting their bishop. And now things are sort of troublesome because I can't take this, as I will take here. Now I have much better 2 pieces for the rook. Knight on h1 is completely out of play. This is coming with tempo. I can, for example, play h6 here. Now the king is locked into the center forever, etc, etc. So that is a problem. And if you can't take on h1, then what do you do instead? Could, like, I don't know, castle, but then again I just take, and go like rook g1. And now I'm just a piece up for nothing, since they didn't win the rook. And so instead I thought, like, takes, now the rook is hanging, so again they don't have time for knight h1. But here I thought e5 was best, which is also what was played. Apparently the computer hates all of these moves, but it's like what makes the most sense. Everything else clearly loses, so to speak. while this might not lose. It's a bit harder to calculate. The others figured after queen d6, black's king is stuck in the center, can't castle. I'm threatening all sorts of stuff everywhere. And currently I'm a piece up, so black has to spend some time on taking, for example, h1 first. Oh yeah, I figured that knight h1 long castles. Now okay. Black is technically up a lot of material, one pawn and an exchange, but the knight on h1 isn't playing. These aren't in the game yet. The black king is stuck in the center. I have two monster pieces on the d file, and my knights are both coming in, so I figured I was winning here. And sort of trusted that evaluation, which the computer says +9, so I assume that was a good guess. With none of that available, black decided to go for bishop e7, which I had sort of missed, but yeah, this is still not the biggest issue. Apparently I'm +16 if I just castle long. Fair enough. I'm not after castle long, there's some rook d8 coming, and it's a bit annoying. Did I think that? Probably I thought that. Oh, okay, there's bishop b5 check. I missed this. That's very cute. So the point is if the queen takes, now the rook isn't defended anymore, so I can just take on d8. While if the pawn takes, now the queen is interrupted from defending the e5 pawn, so now I can just take here, win my material back. With interest, this is hanging, the knight is still coming in, this rook is also gonna drop at some point, presumably. So that's a very cute idea, which I entirely missed. I just thought rook d8, this is defended, this is annoying, the bishop is quite good, and I don't have much, but this bishop e5 is a very nice tactic. I like it, but I missed it. Instead I just figured I got knight c5. Because I'm attacking this bishop, threatening some sort of check, threatening to take here, threatening to take with the queen, like it's a similar idea of saying, okay, now the queen doesn't defend e5 anymore, because I interrupted the defense with my piece, and now queen takes e5 is coming, when everything is falling, and there's no real defense for black. With bishop b5 check it's obviously a bit cuter. So yeah, here I thought the only legal move was queen d8, and then I just wanted to take this. The rook is attacked, can go up, whatever, and then I wanted to go like rook g1, knight takes, rook b7, and originally I thought I could take on e5, but there's rook e7, well that doesn't work, and instead I can just castle short or whatever. f6 isn't gonna hold this forever. And yeah, I just have an extra piece here. So I'm bringing this one home as well. Still, that I thought was basically the only move that worked at all. While after bishop f3, I'm just picking up the whole queen by getting onto this file and always getting some sort of discovered check next move, as the king has to step onto d8 or f8. And yeah, okay, went to d8, check, queen takes, check, and I saved my rook from the attack on h1. When now yeah, I have a queen for a piece, and the knight on f1 is also gonna drop in the future. Like, this isn't gonna help. I even have queen a4 check here, when probably I'm just mating. The queen b4 next, and long castles, and all my heavy pieces are gonna barrel down on the king, so I don't even have to waste time picking this one up, even though I could. Like if I go to g3 here or whatever, this knight isn't gonna live for long since it's trapped. So yeah, was a pretty straightforward game. I got my prep in, and then black miscalculated and sort of fell apart very quickly. GG KCP.